Masculine men create structure. Okay? So let me use this example. My mentor once told me, if I had you on a green field, right? And I just give you some leather, right? I give you leather and I put you on a green field. What do you have? Nothing. I have a lot of room to frolic, right? But I just have some freaking leather and I have and space, right? So I don't really have anything. Then he said, now, if I were to inflate that leather skin into a ball, and I would weave some thread through the middle of it, and then I put, white chalk lines on the field. I actually don't know how many downs or how big it is. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What do you have now, right? Well, now, and I give you, what was it? 19 other guys, right? Well, what do obviously you know that I don't know football. It's probably would have been better with the basketball analogy. Doesn't matter. But you have context, right? You have structure. Now you can play a game. Masculinity is creating the context so that it's not just a free-for-all. Right? It is a grounded transmission of unconditional love, like we talked about before, and it is the drive to that internal drive to there's just valley and mountain. I want to create some context around it. Let me make a home. Okay, I want a home that got 4 walls. Now what else? I want a door with it. I want windows. I want I want to be able to see, and I want to make it bigger, right? And it's that drive to go out there and create structure out of chaos. You're in a committed relationship with a woman, the whole ass woman, right? So there's no chaos there. Right? Of course there is. Now, it can be a field with absolutely no chalk lines, and you can just have a leather skin. But your job is to create the chalk lines and to inflate the ball, and put thread through, and to create the game, right? To create the rules, create the penalties, create a system, right? To create the system so that she can just play. Now, does that mean that you have to do literally everything all the time, forever and ever? Amen. No, that's not what it means. But it does mean that you do have a responsibility if you wish to be the masculine leader that you want to be in this marriage. If you want to be the guy who holds the masculine pole, who wants that juicy marriage where your wife is soft and she blooms like a flower and she's open and receptive and soft and squishy, right? If we want that and we want that passion, then yes, we do have to create context and we have to create structure out of the chaos of, we have 2 different people. We have 2 different energies. We have a man, we have a woman. We have 2 different genders. Got to be careful where I say that, but you know what I'm saying, right? We have 2 different genders, and we have one whole ass woman with a bunch of different needs. She needs to feel safe. She needs to feel seen, heard, understood, valued, reassured, right? Would you still love me if I was a cat paw? Not even the whole cat. I was just a cat paw, and I was just like little digits in a claw, right? Like, what? Okay, all right. So, creating the context to it's over here. It's a little hot in this sweater. Creating the context and the structure of the relationship is imperative. Now, what does that look like? What does that look like pragmatically? Well, let's start with vision. Do you have a vision for the marriage? Do you have something that inspires you? You know, I want our marriage to look like this. Like, I want us to wake up and just enjoying each other's presence every single day. I want you to feel like a queen. I want you to feel like a princess. You know, I want to feel like a king. I want to be welcomed home with a smile on my face. I want our children, you know, to either be homeschooled, or I want them to be very well educated. I want them to know 2-3 different languages. Like that is a very masculine trait. It is like operating out of that vision. You know, you think about what is the number one imperative of the masculine? Provision, right? You are giving her a vision. So your ability to use your imagination, to dream big, to actually connect and tap into your heart, right? And cast that vision and share it. That is essential to be able to create the context and the structure that you get to build off of. And now we have, so we have vision, right? That's one thing that we have. What's another thing that we have in order to, really activate that masculine daddy energy, right? We, ground rules, the boundaries, right? Where does she end and you begin? Where do you end and she begins? Can she, what do you want to have your communication style be like? Do you want to have a relationship where you constantly are interrupted when you're trying to share something, or that you constantly interrupt her, right? Does she get to cheat on you, right? No, cool, good, that's a boundary. Does she, are you in an open relationship? No, good, that's a boundary. There you are, right? Being able to, does she get to disrespect you? Does she get to name call? Does she get to weaponize your most vulnerable expressions? Does she get to leverage your deepest, darkest secrets against you when she's dysregulated or when she is triggered by something, right? Again, creating boundaries. This is not to squish her into this box where we can control her. That is the last thing that we want to do. That is not devotion. That's domination. That's control. That is leading from a tyrannical, unconscious little boy energy, right? The masculine is the energy of, I want to give you the world, and I want you to feel safe, contained, and I want to create a context where, I want to be the frame. I want you to fill it with art, with the art of you. But it doesn't become a beautiful picture if she colors and paints outside of the frame, and then it's a big mess, and then it's on the walls, and it's this whole thing, right? That doesn't feel good. So, vision, right? Provision. What are we giving her? We are giving her a direction. This is where I want to go. This is how much money I want to make. I want us to make. This is how I want us to live. I want to be near family. I want them to grow up knowing their grandparents. I want them to know where they came from, be connected to the ancestors. I want to, go to church every Sunday. I want the kids to be baptized, whatever the case, right? I want to read scripture every night, even if it's for 15 minutes. That's what I want. I want family movie nights. I want family meetings, right? This. Boom, 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 boom. Creating that context from the chaos of just having two whole-ass individuals who may want different things and are learning to grow together. Another thing going now, so we have, boundaries. So here's a boundary, right? I'm never going to lay a finger on you. Boom. We have a boundary. We have an agreement. We have a rule, right? We have a solid no. I once heard a therapist say, standards are the yeses of our life, boundaries are the no's of our life. So I'm not going to lay a finger on you. I'm not going to assault you. I'm not going to name call, right? I'm not going to weaponize our past against you, right? When we communicate and we both feel ourselves rising in tension and anger and whatnot, this is what I am committed to doing. This is what I want us to do. Being able to even communicate that is powerful. The irony of ironies, right, is, I don't know if it's necessarily that ironic, but it's maybe a little bit. It's the things that can be very triggering that can also simultaneously be the most attractive. Why? Because in her feminine essence, she can feel he cares so much about me and about this relationship that he has thought this stuff through. My brother in Christ, he has thought this stuff through. And so I know the rules. I know what to expect. I know, what I can and can't get away with in this. And I know that can be very triggering to hear that very notion of, I'm being controlled or something. No, you're not. Okay, because everybody has sovereignty and you can absolutely float away if this is not in alignment with you. And again, that ensuring that alignment is one of the core values. So now, okay, we have vision, we have boundaries. Now let's look at our standards, right? What are some of our standards? Some of our standards are, we are a family that reads. Okay, that can be a standard, right? Another standard is that I'm gonna create date night once a week. We are going to go on weekly dates, and I'm going to ensure that you and I have time for ourselves, that prioritize having alone time away from the kids, away from the clients, away from the business, so that, right? So that what? So that our connection is like a fire that we keep stoking. It's a garden that we keep weeding and planting and pouring into. Right? Friendship, relationship, it's like a garden. And if we continue to focus on it, where energy goes, where attention flows. Are we giving our energy to the dynamic? Are we giving our energy to the dynamic and to the relationship itself? Right? How are we putting deposits into you and me so that we feel like priority? Just as a personal opinion here, but the number one most important person in your family is your spouse. I love my kids more than life itself, but the truth of the matter is that if you do not prioritize the dynamic in the relationship with your spouse, your kids will suffer anyways. And if you make them your whole world, and then you end up neglecting her, right? Because maybe she doesn't put out for a couple months, or you're angry, and I'm going to just focus on being a parent. Like that's... Anyways, whole other video. So, where was I? Oh, that's right. Provision. Let's create some boundaries. Let's create some no's, right? What are some things that she absolutely feels is a hard no for her? What are some things that are a hard no for you? These are difficult conversations, but they're also rooted in creating something beautiful together. This is teamwork. Okay? Standards, right? What do we stand for? We are a family that reads. We are a family that goes to church. We are a family that we resolve conflict in a specific way that speaks to who we want to be. Right? Do we believe in God? Do we? What is this? What is the standard here? Like, we're not on our screens all day when we're together. There's no phones at the table. Standards. We're a family that works out, right? We value health. So standards are also connected to values. What are the values that the two of you share together? First of all, are you aware of your own? Do you know what values you have? And secondly, do you know what values the two of you want to merge and create and have as the foundation for this thing? Right? Being crystal clear on some of these things is essential. It's essential to creating the context that turns this into a game. It is one of the gifts that you have to offer as the masculine in the relationship. I'll tell you why. Because it's a sturdy foundation. Not to say that things aren't going to change, right? Not to say that both of you aren't going to change into different people as we move forward, as we go on. You might fall out of love. You might have different standards, different boundaries. Things evolve, things change. But do you have a solid foundation in place? And having that solid foundation, again, why is that attractive? It's attractive because, you're demonstrating leadership. What corporations, right? Nike had those 8, 10 principles, right? Apple, like what do we have? We have a what was it called? What's it called? The not the motif. It's like the through line, the log line, well, anyways, whatever. I can't remember it right off the bat right now. But you have America, the Declaration of Independence. This is who we are. We have the Constitution. These are the rules that we are creating to create context to the massive idea that is America, right? And what is that? That is the masculine urge to create structure. When you, even if you were to just do one thing, like one line of a vision, one boundary, one standard, one value that you want to embody and to live out, that alone, right? That alone starts to grease the wheels and create safety. So having those things, ensuring that your no is honored in the same way that her no is honored. Having, for example, having so let me go back into values for a second. Values is growth of value. Do you both value growing together? Because that is when you are going to be doing hard things together. That is when, she doesn't want to go to the gym. She's in her head about whether or not she goes, right? But you guys have what? Not only do you have an agreement, but you have a value. We need to live in integrity with this value. So you go, hey, come on. We're going to go. We're going to the gym. Right? But again, do we let comfort be the driver of our decisions, or do we let growth? Do we let integrity? Do we let alignment, right, congruence, to be the driver of our decision making? When it comes to sex, when it comes to intimacy, hey, look, I want to create a standard where if you do not feel attracted to me, or if you feel disconnected from me, I need to know, and I need to know, why, right? I need to know how you feel. I need to know how you feel. I need to know what you want. I need to know what you need. Because I refuse to be left in the dark. Also, silent treatment. That's a no. Right? We're not doing silent treatment. If you need space, then you ask for space. You tell me that you need space. Right? Different. That's different. Again, we're being intentional. Intentionality is a super attractive trait, and it's also very empowering. So, vision, boundaries, standards, values, systems, right? What are the systems that we want to put in place? And it doesn't necessarily have to be this militaristic, right? Like, it doesn't just have to be that. But having something to work off of, rather than having her try to find it or create it herself, and then you guys end up arguing, and then you fall into the land of expectations and unmet expectations, and then resentment grows, and now the silent treatment, and then it grows bigger and bigger until we end up needing some counselor to tell us all of this all over again. And so having that, right? Having that, having some of these things, that really sparks that, daddy, very sexy, masculine energy that women are so attracted to. I remember I was having a conversation with the wife of one of my clients, and she had mentioned that he was like, okay, something is going on. We are going to have a conversation about this. We're going to have a conversation at this time where we both usually go on our walk, and then this is going to happen, and it's going to be for this long, and we're going to discuss these 3 things, and then by the end of it, we are going to arrive at some sort of conclusion and agreement, and da-da-da-da-da, and do. Again, structure. I remember, I will never forget that. She's like, you have no idea how turned on I was. Right? How turned on I was at his leadership. Leadership is the most attractive trait you could ever demonstrate in a committed, conscious relationship. And you're not going to get it right. You're not going to get it all right, right? You can, but again, the willingness to get it wrong. First of all, you can't get it wrong, okay? Because we're all making this up as we go along. That's first and foremost. Secondly, it is an adventure. It is an adventure to identify these things, to be like, hey, this is my vision. And then what can she do, right? Her gift is in her feminine feedback. That doesn't feel good for me. Or I feel really icky about that. Or can we do this instead, right? Blah, 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 blah. I want to do, what if we put it over here? Can we do that? Can we do this, right? Her feedback and her sharing what is in her heart, it helps you to be like, okay, that's really good feedback. I'll take that in. Let me consider it, and let me see what I want to do moving forward, what we should do moving forward. You think captain, first mate. You don't listen to your first mate, you end up like the Titanic. Listen to your first mate, for the love of God, right? So that is what I wanted to offer in terms of really activating that very powerful daddy energy, that, that masculine structure, drive, potent. It's very, very potent. It's incredibly potent, because here's another thing, right? Here's the truth. The truth is, she's probably going to push back. She's probably going to push back. She's probably going to ask questions, and not even to like be a bitch, but simply just like, because what is a woman's primary imperative? It is to seek safety, emotional, physical, spiritual, right? Safety, psychological safety. So it's a gift for her to push back a little, to test it, to this thing's solid. What are we doing here? Okay, all right, this thing is solid. Cool. I can step, all right, like you think a ladder, right? You think of like a ladder. Okay, this dude wants me to, go up on top of a roof and go see the view. That's terrifying. I'm afraid of heights, Let me make sure that this ladder is really solid. I'm gonna wiggle it, push it a little bit. Okay, okay. I'm gonna start climbing up it. That's what she's doing. You don't take that personally. You don't get frustrated. Well, you can get frustrated with it, but you don't take it personally. Right? It is her going, all right, you want to create this game. You want to be the leader. You want to, right? You want this life. All right, okay. I want to know that I can trust you. This does not mean you have to do everything always and be on top of it all. This is again a collaboration, but remember, leadership naturally flows to the one who takes the most responsibility. It's not always fun. It's not always sexy. Like your ability to do the hard stuff is the thing that is why people follow you. They follow strength. Women and men follow strength. Strength of the heart, strength of the mind, strength, right? Strength of the body, strength of conviction. Are you certain that you are going in the right direction? So, that is what I wanted to offer. That's what I wanted to invite you to consider and to consider implementing as you create this epic relationship of yours, this epic life of yours, right? Because this marriage is a piece of your purpose. It's not the entire thing. It is a huge chunk of it, right? God, 30, 40, 50% even. Right? But it's not the whole thing. There's your life's work. There is all of the other things that you want to create and have this family be a part of, have this woman be a part of, right? These are important things. But it's not the be all end all. But you don't treat it exactly as you would your business. But there's some translation that is very effective. Having standard operating procedures, having the God, I gotta remember what that is. Let me see. It's not family motto. Oh, whatever. All right, it'll probably come back to me as soon as I'm done with this video. But it is that this is who we are, this is where we're going, this is what we stand for, right? And I get it. You weren't taught this. I get it. This seems like so much more work than our parents had to do, or our grandparents even had to do. And why should I have to be the one to blah, 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 blah? You don't have to. Maybe you just need to know these things for yourself and then let them know. Or maybe you don't. But again, this is simply an offering. Something to chew on, something to think about. Look at the results that you're getting. You look at the results that you're getting, and if you're getting the results that you want without any of this in your marriage, by all means, go to town. Vaya con Dios. God bless you. But if we if we're not getting the results that we want in our marriage, then let's look at the system that we currently have in place. Do you have a vision? Do you have boundaries that you uphold? Do you have standards that you want to uphold? Are you living out your values? Are you oriented around growth? Are you taking initiative? Somebody didn't listen to this video. Anyway, these are some of the things that can really bring the potency and the passion and the juice to your marriage, is that level of structure, right? And it's going to rock the boat. It's going to be resisted. It is going to make people mad or make them anxious. It's going to, and especially if we're doing it now after 10, 20 years of marriage, right? But it's operating from a place of possibility. It's operating from a place of vision. Leadership is hard, but the reward comes from, I am going to do the hard thing. Just like the gym. What is on the other side of that? Just like creating a business, just like selling, right? Everything. What did John Maxwell say? No place worth going was ever easy, or something to that effect, right? Calm seas never a strong sailor did make, right? A ship was meant to sail the seas. It wasn't meant to stay in the harbor. It wasn't just meant to be easy. Men do hard shit. You, my friend, want to be the man in the relationship. So go do hard shit. See you in the next one.